got Charlie Burris on the line from Orange and White Report for the best in Tennessee football coverage. So we've got the full conversation available for you on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. Just search Mark Rogers TV, or for the individual topics, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Mark Rogers TV. So lastly, Charlie, is the Tennessee fan base optimistic about this team? So you know what the national narrative is that the window's closed. You moved on Derek Barnett and Josh Dobbs and so forth to the NFL, and 6 NFL draft picks, and Butch Jones built up for 2016, and it just didn't happen. And now not much is expected from this football team.
That's a loaded question. It really is, because right now Tennessee's fan base is really split into two camps. It is the camp that wants to be optimistic, wants to believe in this team, wants to believe in Butch Jones. And they're really trying hard to do that and not be negative about anything. And then there's the other side of the fan base that says Butch Jones needed to be gone when he lost to Vanderbilt, and why is he still here? What are we doing? We're just putting off the inevitable, and so there is not one consistent message with this fan base right now. I would say if you're paying close attention to this team, if you're me, if I'm speaking of how I feel about this team right now, I'm really just middle of the road on them. It genuinely, this conversation will be 100% different on Tuesday night after I see this team play, because this team is just one giant question mark. I have to see what they're going to do on the field. I have to see. They have 6 new assistant coaches. Who knows exactly how that's going to change the dynamic of this team. Butch Jones, I think, really got slapped in the face last season when he basically had the SEC East in hand and blew it against Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Who knows how his philosophies might change going into this year. As everything that I've laid out, question marks at quarterback, all over the defense, on the offensive line even, which arguably should be your best position. So I need to see it, and then I'm going to have a much more informed opinion. But right now, I don't like this matchup with Georgia Tech. I don't have any reason as right now to think that Butch Jones has suddenly become a brilliant in-game coach. He hasn't been in the past. He just hasn't been. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just, my opinion. He hasn't been a great in-game coach so far in his career at Tennessee. So I don't want to say that I'm fearing the worst for this team. It's basically just, I don't know. 10-2 could happen. It's not likely, in my opinion, right now, but 6-6 is definitely not off the board. I'll put it that way in terms of my feelings for this team. But as I said, Tuesday, when I can actually have when I've seen this team play, I think this conversation goes very different, and I have a much stronger opinion. But as of right now, it's really hard to peg down exactly what this team is.
Are you a prediction guy, Charlie? Do you have a prediction available on your website? I don't want to steer anyone away from that. I'll steer them to that if you've got a prediction there, or if you made any kind of seasonal picks as well.
I didn't make a full season pick. I really don't mind that. I will say my full season pick for Tennessee, I think they go 7-5 this year, and I think Butch Jones is looking for a job because the new athletic director who really has no ties to him, and he probably is on a decently short leash this year, and a mediocre year like that's just not going to cut it. Nothing personal against Butch, it's business. But that's how I see the season going. They lose all the games they're quote unquote supposed to lose, and they win all the ones they're supposed to win, and that comes out to 7-5. But with this prediction for Georgia Tech specifically, literally minutes ago, from when we're recording this, I actually posted everyone on our staff at Orange and White Report put in a prediction, and we posted that to our website. It's the very first story right on the homepage. OWR predicts the Georgia Tech game. I personally said it's close, it's ugly, it's gross, but Tennessee does pull it out barely 24-21. That's my exact score prediction for this game, which means I believe the spread's 3.5. So I'm saying that Tennessee does not cover or whatever the line may be. They win by 3. Do with that what you will. Predictions are, especially mine, are shoddy at best. So
people love them, though. You know that, Charlie. People want to hear the predictions.
I'll put it this way. I thought MTSU would beat Vanderbilt, and I believe Vanderbilt won by 40. So, that's where I'm at with predictions right now. So let's see where this Tennessee team is at. And I think my predictions might be a little bit weak.
Well, don't tell me that you make bad predictions, Charlie, because I went 7-5 as well with Tennessee. The in-conference schedule is just pretty brutal. Outside
Exactly.
the East, as you well know, it's always Alabama, and you got LSU at home this year, and we saw what the Tigers did to BYU last night, and we know how talented they are. We'll see if they put it together this year. I do have the win against Georgia Tech, but I was going 7-5, 3-5 in the SEC, and that's probably not enough to give Butch Jones another year.
I am right there with you, and the best case scenario would be for Butch to just win, period. As much as there's a lot of fans in Tennessee's fan base that already want him gone or however they feel, genuinely the best thing would be for him to go 10-2, win the East. Just go ahead and do it. I don't see it happening this year. I hope I'm wrong. Genuinely, I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see soon enough. What is it? About 26 hours from now, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, the division at least does not have a juggernaut. Georgia's got the potential. Florida, we saw the continued issues on offense against Michigan. So there's not an Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State sitting there in the division. So you've got this jumbled mess of maybe 4 or 5 teams that could possibly vie for it. All right, Charlie Burris from Orange and White Report. Join him there for the best in Tennessee analysis day to day. Of course, gearing up for the Georgia Tech game to conclude our first weekend of football and predictions as well. All right, Charlie, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the invite, Mark.